Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and get rolling with the program and get you fed here. So if you can take the seats that our folks up front talk to you about. We're going to start with a very special message, and then we will dismiss for dinner before our program tonight. Well, we're so glad to have all of you here. These Hall of Fame inductions dinners are just one of actually the best nights of the year. It really draws a line for us between our current athletes and the athletes that have come before them, and makes us all understand that the Ambrose family goes back a long way, and we've had just such significant contributors here, not only on our campus, but leading lives of significance once they have left our campus. And so that's what we're here to do tonight. We will get to our inductions after dinner, but before we eat dinner, I have the pleasure of introducing our president, Dr. Amy Novak. I've had the pleasure of working for two presidents who have been so beneficial for athletics. Sister Joan was a builder. I know that kind of categorizes her into too fine a box, but for those of you who have come back and said, wow, this place looks a little bit different, that's because of Sister Joan's vision for what the facilities here could be, trying to recruit top caliber people from the region and from the country. And then Dr. Novak came in on her heels, and she has been such a visionary for the student-athlete experience. She has a genuine concern that all of our kids here, we have over 900 athletes, have a great experience while they're at St. Ambrose, both in the classroom, on the athletic field, socially, and in their community. She is an energy bomb. She just always going. She has so many really incredible ideas, and she doesn't just throw those ideas out. She follows up, and she wants to make those things happen, and you just get the feeling that she can never get it going fast enough to get it where she wants it to be. So she's going to lead us off tonight with some remarks, and I think you all understand homecoming weekend. She's got a lot of places to be tonight, but I know that she wanted to be here to at least greet everyone.
Thanks, Mike, and what a joy it is to be here with all of you tonight. This is always one of my favorite events in sort of the year that and it's celebrating people who have left a legacy. And I think when we work in these higher educational institutions, we are cognizant that the impact people leave, it's sort of the shoulders you go on. So, you're talking about Sister Joan, and I'm privileged to sort of sit on her shoulders and the work that she's done and build upon that. And for those of you who are part of athletics, you have these strong teams, these strong experiences that inspire the next generation of students here at St. Ambrose University. So it's a real privilege to be here tonight and to celebrate you, especially those of you who are being recognized. So I'm pleased to welcome back 4 athletes whose impact on St. Ambrose University has left a lasting legacy. Joe, Jennifer, Michael, and Mike each influenced their respective sports with their exceptional performance, their commitment to teamwork, and their enduring loyalty to St. Ambrose. Now, I was just sharing with our bowling coach that one of the things I appreciate about athletics is I wasn't particularly good. And so when I see really standout performances, I recognize the level of dedication and skill development that goes into being a really exceptional student athlete. And often beyond just the skill, it's what they do on their team. I mean, all of you weren't just performers in and of yourself. It was because you figured out how to work with a team to really execute and complete something. And so I just want to say how much admiration I have for you. Perhaps a little bit of jealousy. In my own family, my sister was a 3-time college athlete, All-American, national champion in tennis, and she was also that in high school, and I'm like, what happened in the gene pool? Because I could barely run without getting injured, let alone play tennis or golf or participate in volleyball. And so I'm really continuing to be deeply impressed by what our athletes do. I want to share with you just a little bit about what's happening here at St. Ambrose University. So as Mike and all of our wonderful coaches here have built a really strong athletic department. And we are recognized in the NAI as one of the top institutions for producing what we call champions of character. And I think more than anything we do here, that is a reflection of the leadership of our athletic department, Mike Holmes, as well as every coach here who buys into a commitment that athletics goes well beyond the field of competition and recognizes it's about building character, it's about service in the community, it's about academic performance. And so to consistently have a football team whose GPA is top in the country, or one of the top ones in the country, or to have 30 teams who are representing us as a 5-star institution, champion of character, what's happening here at St. Ambrose is unique, and it's something to be very proud of. As well, I want to share with you that we welcomed 300 new student athletes to campus this fall, making our numbers exceed 900 in overall student athlete participation. And in the last decade, we've contributed over $100 million to new facilities across our campus, not just to athletic facilities, which have been improved greatly, but to facilities that enhance the academic experience of our students. This continues to be a place as well where faith is at the core of what we do. And so we're mindful that as an institution, we remain committed to our founding legacy in our Catholic tradition, but also welcoming people of all traditions to explore what values, what are they as people of character, and how we live that out. So this is an exciting time for St. Ambrose. We're grateful for the success of many of our programs, but even more impressed by the legacy they have left. And finally, to all of you who are recipients tonight of this award, thank you for being incredible representatives of this university. You've truly modeled what it means to be Ambrosian, not just in what you did in the past, but in what you continue to do as contributing citizens in our world today. So it is very special to welcome all of you here, and thank you for coming back and celebrating what it means to be Ambrosian by honoring our Hall of Fame inductees tonight.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Novak. So with athletes in the room, we don't wait long to eat here. We're going to get that done first. And if you have ordered a special meal, like a gluten-free meal, a vegetarian meal, a kid's meal, our folks back at the back will, you just let them know as you go through, and then they'll get that prepared for you. Our folks from Sodexo will also be dismissing our tables to go ahead and eat, relax, have a nice dinner. Probably near the end of your dinner, we might be starting the program, and that's fine. You just continue to enjoy your food, and then we'll enjoy listening to the induction speeches of our Hall of Famers. So with that, I'll let the Sodexo take over and start dismissing you by table for your food. I'd like to invite everyone to continue to enjoy your meal or dessert wherever you are in the process. Feel free also to go back and get anything else that you would like from the table. We would like to get our program started tonight, though. That's what we're here for, after all, is to honor four very special individuals in the history of St. Ambrose athletics. Our first introducer tonight, I happen to know, work right by him, and most of you, I'm sure, know as well. One of our staples at St. Ambrose for many, many years, almost going close to 40, Ray Shoveling, to introduce our first inductee. It's on and ready for you, Ray.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all our Hall of Fame inductees. Great job. Just some great accomplishments across the board. This is a group that I know all four personally, which makes it even more special for me. We've had other inductees in Hall of Fame, and I've known some of them, but some not nearly at the level I do here. So, I do want to echo one thing Dr. Novak said today. We really appreciate your contributions in assisting the athletic department and university in being successful. Our success are really built on your accomplishments. And I think that's really a key statement. Our success here in the athletic department is built on your accomplishments. And I tell you that they're immense. So I really I feel honored to be able to speak tonight. I have the honor to introduce Mike Kennedy. Mike is one of the best men's basketball players to ever play here or ever will play here. He's the only player to ever earn and be selected and named first team NAI All-American for 2 seasons. Honors well deserved. Mike was a very versatile player. He ranks 3rd on the all-time scoring list in the history of men's basketball. He ranks 4th on the rebounding list in the history of SAU basketball. But I think really the key part is here. But beyond those numbers, Mike is really a unique person and individual. The one unique characteristic I really appreciated and admired most in Mike was his ability to make everyone better. And I think that's really key. Mike's ability to make everyone around him better. He included his teammates. He included others in his success. And he did it often. And I really admire somebody for that, because we live in a world now that's a little more focused on I as opposed to we. His family, great quality family, they instilled in him a strong work ethic at a very young age, and he still possesses it today. Mike's combination of a strong work ethic and his ability to include others in success is an example for all of us, I think. That all of us should follow on a daily basis. And especially in today's world, I really think we did a community service project tonight at Madison School, and Mike was involved in a lot of community service when he was here as well. We had a ton of families come up to us today and just say thank you. 2 key words to use in your entire life that are critical: thank you. And I tell you what, Mike always did thank everybody. So, I really commend you. But I think it's an example that I think we all should follow more closely in today's world. But Mike, congratulations to you and your family for a job well done and recognition well deserved. I do also want to personally thank you for all that you've done, Mike Kennedy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hello. So I got some notes here. Thank you for that introduction, Coach Ray. It means a lot that you were up here to do that for me. don't think I could have chose anyone else being my coach, athletic director. I appreciate it. Good evening. I want to start by saying thank you to St. Ambrose, the athletic department, for inviting me back here for such a special event. I want to congratulate all the other inductees. It's an honor to be here to celebrate this special ceremony with all of you. It's very well deserved. When I was told about being inducted, the first thing that came to mind was all the games and practices I played at while at St. Ambrose. 4 years and about 130 games flew by. And I feel like I could still remember bits and pieces from all of them. What stood out more to me was the long list of people I have to be thankful for to even be in this position. Firstly, my parents. It takes a lot of sacrifice, time, and energy to get 3 kids to and from all our practices and keeping us involved in the sports we all love to play. My brother and sister, being the youngest sibling, I always looked up and still do to you guys and try to follow in your footsteps as you guys were involved in your sports. I feel like I was the annoying little kid who would run out onto the court at halftime and try to get any shots up at any dead ball. Got to see my sister win a state championship, got to watch my brother play sports his whole life. Somehow felt prepared for the tough college practices from the one-on-one Avers games in our backyard in sub-freezing temperatures. When I was playing at St. Ambrose, you guys coming to games meant the world to me. Knowing that you guys would drive 3 hours there, 3 hours back, just to watch us play was really special, and I don't think it was coincidence. I had some of my best games in our backyard at St. Av's with my family sitting in the front row and 10 of my closest buddies sneaking beers in the nosebleeds. I can't thank you guys all enough for that. There was a time my senior year where I didn't know if I was going to continue my basketball career. I was getting recruited to play by some schools, but I was burnt out, didn't really listen to much. I remember meeting Coach Ray after one of my games, and it was one of the most refreshing recruitment pitches I had ever heard. He hit me with a, "Hey, champ," and he was straightforward. He said he'd like me to play there. I'd have an opportunity to play, and we were going to win a lot of games. He kind of cut right through all the BS, and I was sold right there. I came on a visit to check on the campus, ran into a couple guys I went to high school with the year before, knew some incoming recruits, so it all seemed like a perfect fit. I still remember our first week of school, our freshman year. We had our first team meeting where we met Coach Ray again officially, and then all the other coaches and players. I remember Coach Ray laying the groundwork for what was expected of us as players and students. He told us a few of his first main rules, which were no hats and no earrings inside buildings, and you're going to sit front row in all your classes. While sitting in this meeting in the back row while also wearing my hat, I was worried that I was off to a tough start here, and I couldn't wait for practices to start up. Once they started, I never looked back. I can't thank the coaches enough, Coach Ray, Coach Kiss, Coach Murray, John Doyle, and Coach Sparts later on for putting us in the best positions to succeed on the court. But over the 4 years there together, turning all of us into men on and off the court, I had the opportunity to play with a lot of talented players in my time here. The list would be too long to name them all, but I do think about the guys who I entered my freshman year with and the guys that I graduated with, starting with Chris, who I probably started every single game with you. I have a lot to thank Chris for. I don't know if you guys could tell with his suit on, but he's got oddly long arms. He's one of the best players I've ever played with and one of the best defenders I've ever played with. So 4 years of him guarding me gave me some confidence. I started thinking, hey, if I could score on this guy, what's the guy on William Penn with normal-sized arms going to do? Not much he could. But guys like Sean, PJ, Matt Welding, Nate, the list goes on. I think about all the tough practices we had to endure together, 5 a.m. conditionings, the loud, long bus rides after a win, and the 3-hour silent bus rides after a tough loss. You guys all made me a better player along the way, but the way that the coaching staff, players, training staff, managers from top to bottom We were a tight-knit group, and it made it really easy to play for this program. I'd like to thank the basketball program as a whole as well for the opportunity to continue my basketball career. I'll always remember my time on the court, but I'll remember the times off the court as well, all the activities and team bonding. Got to travel to Miami, Orlando, St. Louis, Branson, Missouri, and Ireland, which was truly an eye-opening experience that I'm forever grateful for. And my last thank you is to my family that made it out tonight, my family here, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, my beautiful wife, and my beautiful old teammate Chris here. I can't thank you guys enough, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Introduce our next inductee. I'd like to invite Mike Hayward to the lectern.
Boy, Ray's a tough one to follow. Where's he at again? Thanks, Ray. Start off making me look bad here. But hey, I'd like to thank all the other inductees too as well. It's a great accomplishment for all of you. I remember when Michael gave me a call here a little while ago and said, "Hey, Dad, guess who called me?" And it's St. Ambrose. And he says, "Yeah, they're going to induct me in the Hall of Fame." And I said, "Wow." So we just started reminiscing and talking and laughing and shed a few tears. And then he said, "I got to get some speakers." And so we talked about some speakers, and I'm texting him, "Hey, how about this guy? Hey, how about this guy?" And so that kind of went by a little bit, and Father's Day came around, and he's handed me a Father's Day's card, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, maybe did all the kids put this together? I'm like, honey, I think we're going to a weekend in Chicago. We're going to get a gift card, or, where are we going, And Father's Day card, he asked me to be a speaker. And so that night, I turned to my wife, I go, why me? I was kind of shocked. He said, why me? And so just kind of little story. Said, man, I just started out, man, did we have a lot of fun. We did. We had a lot of fun over a lot of years. And so there's been kind of an elephant in the room here through our family and kind of weighing on me, and I just want to, get it out there today and just let you all know right now before I start talking that thankfully my son was blessed with my wife's athleticism. I just got to get that out there. So we've always had that, and your family's over there. I just got to get that out, right? So to let you know. So, when he was very, very young, it was a lot of fun. Before I'd go to work, if it was nice out, I'd set a bunch of things out there, a pitchback, and we had a basketball hoop there, and we'd throw a bunch of balls out there every day before I left to go to work real early. And man, he just loved to play, and we played 4 to 5 times a week. Always we're shooting, we're catching, we're doing all those things. And also, had him in soccer and t-ball at a young age and developing all those things. And then 7 years old, he comes around and he's like, I'm going to play football. I'm going to play tackle football. I go, tackle football. 7 years old. And so Bill George had a league out there. And so at that time I decided to start coaching too. And you get them and you start throwing equipment on them, and you put their helmet on them. It's like Weeble Wobbles. The helmet was so big they couldn't even hardly hold the thing up. It was unbelievable. So at 7 years old, we're playing. He plays that for 4 or 5 years. He played quarterback and punted, and then his last year he played a little bit of receiver, which obviously hopefully carried over to where he was later on. One of the years we won a state championship and got to go play at NIU, so that was a great thing as well. So again, at that time I decided to start coaching. I coached 3 sports a year with him: football, basketball, baseball, and during that time, he developed some great fundamentals. The thing that amazed me the most is he loved to practice. He always loved to practice, and Dad, let's go. We got to get there. We got to be there early. It didn't matter what sport it was, and it was great. Any holiday, any Christmas, any birthday, all we had to do was get him a ball, just a different type of a ball, and he was the happiest person in the world. And more upon that, though, is he loved to compete. He loved competition. Hate to say another trait he got from my wife, because she's the same way. She loves to compete, and she's crazy about it. Around 10, funny story, around 10, she goes, hey, we got to make him tougher. I'm saying, well, what do you mean tougher? And she goes, yeah, well, he plays too many team sports. We got to get an individual sport for him. I said, well, great. I said, okay, let's get tennis, let's do golf, no, wrestling. Peter Bush will love this, wrestling. I go, wrestling? So, of course, we signed him up for the, feeder program that goes into the high school. And he does it for 3 or 4 months, and he was okay with it, didn't mind it. He was okay going to practice again. He loves to go into practice, and he didn't really mind because he didn't have to go in any tournaments. He was okay. I'll go practice, but, if I'm not forced to go in any tournaments, I'll be all right. And then, 3 or 4 months later, he says, hey, let's go. I said, you want to go watch one? He goes, yeah. And so we headed out, and we go watch a tournament, and we go, and he goes, I think I can do this. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I think I can do this. I said, okay, so we'll talk to the coach and get him lined up for the next time. So we go there, and I guess they call it the bullpen, whatever they go. So they're all going to weigh in. So he goes in, he weighs in, and he comes back out, and he looked like he saw a ghost. He had the biggest eyes. I'm like, he was just came back, and he was just like all reserved. My wife remembered this, and we go, what happened? He goes, Dad, you're not going to believe it. All these kids are stripping down. Some are getting naked just to weigh in. He goes, what is going on? And he was like so taken by that. He was like, and then this one kid goes, hey, how much did you weigh? And Mike told him, and he goes, oh, you're in my class. And he goes, how many times have you wrestled before? And he goes, none. Well, the kid laughs in his face. And this was the kid that he was going to have to wrestle with at some point, hopefully, if he does well. So round 1 goes, and he wins, and round go 2s. And so my wife and I are up there talking to other people, and we find out that this kid comes from a wrestling family. And we're like, oh, no, he's going to get twisted. This is going to be devastating. It's just not going to be good. And so it comes up that he does wrestle this boy, and he beats him. Okay? Goes, he gets his trophy, and the funniest part was, he grabs his trophy and walks up to my wife and says, Mom, here's your trophy. He was done. He never wrestled again. He was done. So, from that point we moved, we were actually from the Chicago area at that time. We moved to the Quad Cities. My wife was from here. And I was all excited about volunteer coaching again. I love doing it. And my son goes, Dad, no. I go, what do you mean no? I said, I want to help. He goes, no. He says, you know what, I'm moving in here, it's 8th grade, he's all in that dorky stage, doesn't know anybody, we're a new person moving in. And he goes, if I end up winning a spot or I'm, get a position, he goes, the last thing I want is these kids to say, hey, the only reason that you are playing is because your dad's coaching. So I really kind of took that as, wow, that was pretty special. So I opted not to do that. And so I just started coaching my AAU's girls basketball, which was great for me then too, build a good relationship with her. So through his, 8th grade year, he started as a quarterback. Freshman year, he started as a quarterback and punted. The sophomore year, they were very successful. We're undefeated their sophomore year. Junior year, the team that he was on, they won state. He was all-state punter, and still trying to figure out to this day how he got that, because I think he only had to punt 8 times that year. It was unbelievable. That team was phenomenal. But so he did that, and senior year, they fell just a little bit short going to the state. But we experienced going to quarterback camps. We experienced going to punting camps together. And one camp that he came back and was so proud of, and as he went to the Penn State camp, and there's 3 or 4 D1 guys there, and I remember Rick Stanzi was one of them at that time. And so they had all these moving drills and throwing drills and things. And he was actually called quarterback a camper of that. So he came back with a trophy on that. So that was a nice accomplishment for him as well. We then were lucky enough, Coach Todd Sturdy, recruited him here at St. Ambrose. And, as you know, and you read, he's a punter and a quarterback, receiver. 1 year he was honorable mention as a quarterback, and then, receiver 3 years, and 2 years of those an All-American. Still got some great records, and, the funnest person to watch, and it was just great. The last game he played, and taking off that jersey was pretty tough and devastating, and but he wasn't done yet. The best part was I got to train with him and work out with him. He was trying to get into the pros, so we went to some camps. We went to some NFL scouting camps, and one of them was up in Detroit Lions. We still talk about that today, and he just fell a little bit short of getting where he wanted to be for his childhood dream. But to get in the Hall of Fame,
most of the time it's all on, your big numbers and your stats. And, and I think it's much more than that. I don't think it will ever compare, to all the memories, the relationships, the friendships, and again, talking about character that they built all that way and throughout their life, and the character that he still has today. Hey, we had a great 18 years together. It was awesome. Thanks for the memories, and congratulations, son. And it was a pleasure and honor to speak on your behalf. Thank you.
Well, three good speeches here, and I'm terrible. So here we go on this. I want to congratulate all the other three athletes here as well. What an accomplishment! Went to school with two out of the other three, and also I wanted to first off thanking my parents. None of this would have been possible wasn't for them. My fiance's here. She didn't watch me play. Probably a good thing she didn't come to college here. Probably wouldn't be married to her, so that's for another time. You got to lighten the mood a little bit. My grandparents are here as well, aunts and uncles over there. They were always so supportive. I got to say, thank St. Ambrose. A huge one I want to thank, I'm going to throw a name out here, is Ann Austin. She helped me out a ton. So that's a huge name I want to thank. The whole athletic program, football, obviously, those are all huge supporters of mine. Grandparents and family, kind of back on them. They never missed any of my games, even when we lived in Chicago area. I think they drove up for every game. So, like my dad was saying, 7 years old, I just fell in love with the game. He was one of my coaches, and then another guy, Tom Minzer, was one of my coaches. He played with Dick Buckus, and he just had that good mentality and hard work, dedication, all that. So I got all that passion from those guys. Kind of doing a little timeline of all my football here, and then kind of moved to Bettendorf, and a lot of coaches there helped me out, and I was kind of this little skinny 5'6", 140-pound little kid, if you can imagine that, till about junior year. So I just always wanted to go out there and show that toughness, and show them I can compete with anyone. Didn't matter the size. Playing guys like Mike Kennedy, when they were 8th grade, they were 6'4", and I'm 5'6". So I finally grew and kind of grew into my body, which obviously helped later on. But a lot of the lifting program at Bettendorf was huge. And a lot of coaches there I'd like to thank. There's too many, but that all helped guide me into Ambrose. And the recruiting process was a little tough. I was obviously hoping to try to go D1, and starting at only one year is kind of tough, obviously, with any sport. So Todd Sturdy was a huge one that really influenced me to come here. And then Mike Magistrelli's not here. I was going to say some stories, but between those two guys, ended up redshirting me, basically faked a thumb injury. I was bashing it against the wall, and so I got the red shirt. And so I ended up starting for 4 years, so that was great. And switched from quarterback. I came in as a quarterback, and there were some good mentors. Vince is one of them, now the head coach. I was a knucklehead sometimes, so a lot of those upperclassmen really helped me out. Let's see, what else? So yeah, in between my freshman and sophomore year, I was competing with everyone and didn't know what position. And right before Sturdy left, he's like, "Hey, I think we need to get him on the field, and we need to switch him to receiver. I think he can be, a good key asset with us. We got a lot of older talent, and a team that can make a run." And me and Vince were talking earlier. I think that's one of the better football teams that were here. We had a lot of good studs, and we were supposed to have a home game for for the playoffs, and they were in the transition of the field over at Brady, so we had to travel to St. X. Actually lost that last second, but that was one of those all good memories. I wanted to say something about Matt Destrelli. He helped me out a lot as well. Those guys kind of helped me to become, the teamwork and being a part of, 150 guys. You got to be a full team, guy in there, and being looked up to. You always have to kind of show that good example. So a lot of those older guys really helped with that in my, later years with that. So that definitely was huge. Let's see what else we got here. Mike, you were way better than me, by the way. Let's see, sorry about that. I also want to thank a bunch of the guys throughout the years, a lot of the O-line, the receivers, all the other ones, the QBs, all the DBs with the battles at practices. We had opportunities to go to the Hall of Fame Stadium and play there, which was awesome. We got to go practice at the Purdue, got to go practice at Notre Dame facility throughout the time, which all those were great experiences. Got to also thank Dean Beauchamp. That was my boy. If I was hurt or couldn't participate in practice, as my dad said, I loved practice. Me and Dino were best boys on some of those days then. But he obviously helped out all the rest of the athletes in here as well, and they would all say the same. He's a real good guy to all the athletes here at Ambrose. Yeah, but we had some fun times on the practice field, in the games. Other guys like Justin Thomas, Chance, Colin Green, James Hannah White, to name a few of some of the DBs, that had some good battles with. And just also the fun times that we created. I mean, Ambrose was really good about the family atmosphere, and to this day, I have probably text about 15 guys that consistently text every day from St. Ambrose, and that's because of this. So, and others, we still consistently see each other. You can reach back out a couple times a year, and it's like we're still together on that Wednesday night at Rookies. But no, overall, just want to say thanks again, and it's been a pleasure and honor here to become a Hall of Famer as well with the other fine athletes here. And thanks for Ambrose giving me the opportunity to come here. And thanks again.
All right, we're going to try a first here. We have one of our presenters tonight who's going to go virtual and gave us a recorded message. He could not be with us, so Joe's our high maintenance inductee here. So we'll let Darren Hintz introduce our next
talk. I'd like to start off by congratulating all of the honorees, and I wish I could be there in person, but I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and couldn't make it back for this truly special event. My name is Darren Hintz, and I competed on the men's golf team from 2000 to 2004, and I am honored to introduce one of my teammates, close friends, and the best man at my wedding, Joe Demory. During his years at St. Ambrose from 2001 to 2005, he compiled quite the resume. Joe is the first NAIA two-time All-American golfer in school history in years 2004-2005. Joe finished 5th individually at the 2004 NAIA Men's Golf National Championship, shooting a final round 69 and leading our team to a 3rd place finish. Joe is a 4-time first team All-Midwest Classic Conference selection. Joe holds the Midwest Classic Conference 36-hole scoring record with a 9-under, 135, shooting 67-68 at the 2004 Conference Golf Tournament. Joe holds the 54-hole school scoring record with a 209, shooting 72, 69, 68 at the 2003 Illinois State University DA-Weibring Intercollegiate, an NCAA Division I event. Joe holds the men's golf school record for low scoring average for a season with a 70.45. In that same year, Joe won 6 tournaments. That was 2004 and 2005. After graduation, Joe went on to play professional golf for 2 years, and most recently was the women's golf coach at St. Ambrose from 2019 to 2021. Safe to say, that is a Hall of Fame worthy resume. Joe, his wife Abby, and 2 beautiful daughters, Molly and Grace, now live in Colorado. With my family here in Arizona, it is safe to say that Joe and I do not get to spend nearly as much time as we did when we were roommates and teammates at St. Ambrose. Joe called and asked me to introduce him, saying he owed a lot of his success to me. Joe, thank you for that sentiment. But please know that the successes of your teams were because of you, your leadership, and your competitive spirit. Joe hated to lose. Absolutely hated it. And if you don't believe me, you can ask the white St. Ambrose passenger van that took us to and from regionals at TPC Deer Run during his freshman year. All I can say is that poor van did not have a chance. Some people love winning. But in my experience as a player and now a golf coach to many juniors over the past 12 years, the ones that hate to lose more than they love to win, those are the players that have the most success. Players that hate to lose also command the most from their peers, even without them knowing. Joe, I can speak for Tim, Sunil, Lemkow, that during that final round in 2004 at the National Championships, we didn't want to let you down. We knew you would lead us as you did shooting that final round 69. We just wanted to do our part to help the team and to help you reach our goals. You, Joe, were the leader, and I thank God to this day that Greaves recruited you, and we had an opportunity to compete together for 3 years. You truly are one of a kind. I'm so very proud to call you a friend, a teammate, and now a Hall of Famer. I wish I was there to give you a hearty handshake, the only wager you and I ever needed. But since I can't, I'll tip my hat and say congratulations.
Well, thank you, Darren. Golf is a team sport. Hopefully that was evident there. I do want to take a moment and just kind of piggyback on a little bit of what Coach Ray mentioned there. Coach, your success might be because of ours. Coach, your success might be because of the players. But if you guys weren't here, I wouldn't have had the opportunity that I had. Michael wouldn't have had it. Mike wouldn't have had it. Jen wouldn't have had it. So it's the coaches that make it. It's the staff that makes it. We all know it's not about the money. We do it because we love it. It's do it because we love sport. And I just think it's a good reminder that we're very lucky to have what we have here at St. Ambrose. For the many, many coaches who spend a lot of time, energy to give college kids like us a great opportunity. So I just didn't want to let that slip by before I got started. I'll get through this, I promise. So I just want to thank Darren for his fantastic introduction. It should come as no surprise that today Darren is the Director of Instruction at a golf academy. Darren's friendship, guidance, leadership through my first 3 years helped us and me develop into a top 5 program, top 5 player. I want to thank Mike Holmes, the selection committee, for this incredible honor. Mike, Michael, Jen, congratulations. This is a really cool honor, and you guys are well deserved of this accomplishment. I'd like to thank my family and friends who've come and joined us today. My wife, Abby, and my 2 daughters, as Darren said, Molly and Grace, over there, doing good. Thanks for joining us. I love you more than golf, and I'm lucky to have you in my life. I'd like to thank my parents who always encouraged me to give it my all, always been proud of me regardless of my success or failures. Mom, I want to thank you for making sure I had what I needed. I want to thank fellow Hall of Fame member, Coach Jeff Griebel. You've given so much over your years to kids like me, as I said, to have a good opportunity. And we're lucky to have you. You know, as a young kid, I was far from a golfer. I just love sport. I like going out for 9 holes with my grandparents because they let me drive the golf cart. I had little interest in golf, but then Tiger and Nike came along and made it kind of cool, which certainly piqued my interest a little bit. But even as a golfer in 1997, my freshman year in high school, I started out my year shooting 105 in my first 18-hole match. 4 years later, I was arriving on campus, coming into a program with a national ranking, capabilities that was only losing one key player, a guy named Josh Nelson, currently today is a Hall of Famer. I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to compete right away for a spot on the team and hopefully continue my growth and understanding of the game. I couldn't have picked a better school, coach to learn from. What St. Ambrose provided me was an opportunity to learn, grow, developmentally, emotionally, physically, big time physically, and spiritually. My success on the golf course was the result of teammates like Darren, Brian Stamberger, Brian Limcow, Jason McGrain, Nilton Asia, Cody, Lupton, Mills, Tim Pitts, Kazi, Jimmy Marinelli, Tim Harrigan, and many, many others. We all pushed each other to get better. Our third place finish at the 2004 National Championship will always be my most memorable golf accomplishment. And one of my favorite captured moments, which was likely captured by Mrs. Pitts or Mrs. Hentz, is a photo of you, Coach, giving the 5 of us a final round pep talk as we attempted to make one final push at the National Championship. It's that one up there. You know, golf has turned out to be an incredible piece of my life. I spent a lot of time as a teenager on the golf course just to stay out of trouble, stay out of the way. I was the youngest of 4, and I knew if I was on the golf course, I could easily avoid being called in to do dishes, mow the yard, prepare for dinner, whatever it might be if I was 5 miles down the road at the golf course. There were no cell phones. There was no car. It was just me and the golf course. It was a place where I felt at peace, and that's ultimately why I still play it today. I could not accept this honor. I could not accept this honor without thanking an incredible group of friends that I met in the dorms and in the classroom as well on campus. I'll finish this. Nick, Jude, Ryan, Moby, your encouragement, support then, still today is one reason why I always feel indebted to St. Ambrose. You're the family I didn't know I was getting when I stepped on campus. Golf has undoubtedly had a profound impact on my life, clearly. It's taught me a lot of great lessons, values, provided me with incredible opportunities that I will forever be grateful for. I'm humbled and honored to join an incredible group of athletes and St. Ambrose teams who have each left their mark on this university. Thank you.
Our final introduction tonight will come from Marty Goetz.
As a pastor, I'm used to getting the last word. I guess I get the second to last word tonight. It's good to be home again. I'm a 1988 graduate of St. Ambrose University. I majored in history and philosophy. My athletic claim to fame is that another Hall of Famer here at St. Ambrose, Lisa Bluter, taught me how to play racquetball so I could get my 1 PE credit. I am very proud to be here tonight to brag about my niece, Jennifer Goetz, and introduce her tonight. Being a history major, I'm pretty good at dates, and one of the most important dates in our life was August the 25th, 1985. It was the day that I set out for my first day here at St. Ambrose College. It was also the day that Jennifer, you were baptized at St. Mary's Church in West Point, Iowa. You started a special journey that day because God touched you and blessed you with many gifts and talents. And in turn, you have used them not only to make you into the young woman that you are today, but to influence the lives of so many who you coach and influence today and every day. I could stand up here today and talk about all of your accomplishments on the court. Second team All-American after earning honorable mention the previous 2 years. One of only 5 players in SAU history to score more than 2,000 points and grab 1,000 rebounds. Your all-conference selection, Midwest Collegiate Conference Player of the Year, conference titles, and qualifying for the NAIA National Tournament. But what is most important to me are your intangibles. You often said that you weren't the tallest person on the court or the fastest, and you didn't jump very high. Sorry for those Goetz genes. But you made up for it in so many ways that statistics cannot measure. Your heart, your passion. But before I get into that, I have a riddle for you. 3 frogs are sitting on a log, and 2 of them decided to jump in the water. How many frogs are left on the log? 3, because deciding to jump and actually jumping are 2 different things. Your selection into the Hall of Fame says that you decided not to just talk the talk, but to walk the walk, to live a life of greatness. How would you define greatness? Every so often I do crossword puzzles, and if I were given the clue greatness, I would look at the following definitions to see if one would fit, or better, to see if they all fit. You find the best in others, especially your teammates. You love and assist more than points and helping others be the best that they can be. You have the spirit of fortitude that enables you to conquer fear and to face trials. And in the words of one of my favorite songs, you won't back down from any challenge. And you realize the importance of family and friends. Again, only you can do it, but not alone. You were always so thankful when we came to support you. And I know standing here tonight that you have 4 very special people looking down on you with big smiles on their faces. Your grandparents, Daryl and Donna, and Jack and Marianne. And just as you are loyal to your coaches and players, it was your family and friends and their faith in you that meant so much in your life. You aspired to bring out the best in yourself and others. You have the will to succeed and to put the work in. You have so much passion that it rubs off on others, that they want to play just as hard as you did. You have so much drive and will to succeed. And I remember after you played in the national tournament here, you were in the gym the next week working out, even though Coach Ted told you to take some time off. And can I tangent off on Coach Ted? Is that all right? Okay? Because I was at one of your games this year, and her team played one of the best first halves of basketball I've ever seen. And then they went into the locker room in the third quarter, and it was a complete 180. I don't know if you remember that or not. And her players kept looking over at her, and it's like, what do you want me to do? You know what to do. And in that moment, I thought, Coach Ted at William Penn. Did you bring up William Penn? That was pretty good, yeah. You know, at William Penn, like, you know, you guys weren't playing very well. It's like, what do you want me to do? You know what to do. So Coach Ted, I think, smiling down on you tonight too. You inspire so many. I remember something you posted on Facebook a couple of years ago on Mother's Day. My mom said, if your friends jump off a bridge, would you? Mom, I was the one with the idea. You bird the leader, not a follower. And you lead by example. You teach the game with dignity and respect, even the refs. But I won't bring up that technical story from Waldorf. You teach trust. Trust the process. It's not all about the wins and losses, but the person you are called to be. I'm so impressed that you have your kids write thank yous. I love looking at the pictures of the little ones who look up to you at the halftime pep talk. I love seeing the enthusiasm and passion you bring out in your players. And why do they have this? Because of your example and trust in you. And you live a life of honor. Win or lose, you held your head high. You honor yourself and others and God by using the gifts that you have been given. You live a life of honor when you live the best version of yourself and bring out the best in others. And I don't know if you caught what I just did there, but I spelled out the word faith. You live a life of faith in God, yourself, in family and friends, in your teammates, and those you coach to aspire and inspire. Success requires confidence, which comes from the Latin words con and fide, meaning with faith. Winning at life is about having faith in God and the gifts that God has given you. And we honor that tonight. Jennifer, I'm so proud of all that you have accomplished. But more than that, I'm proud of the young woman and coach that you are today. And that you are a special part of my life. It is my honor to induct my niece, Jennifer Goetz, into the St. Ambrose University Hall of Fame.
Everyone else talked about backing things up. I don't know how I back that up, so thank you. I'm also going to give you the heads up that we 100% honestly did not talk at all about what either one of us talked about, but you're going to see an overlap this evening, and I will do my best to get through it as well. So thank you, Joe, for being vulnerable up here first. Thank you. Okay. Let me begin by saying how honored I am to be joining these three well-deserving, character-driven, amazing athletes as part of the class of 2022, and how humbled personally I feel to be joining this new team at St. Ambrose that is made up of remarkable former athletes. For those who have witnessed my career from the outside, you would undoubtedly use the following milestones: team championships, All-American honors, Player of the Year awards, and records in the SAU history book, and obviously tonight as I enter the St. Ambrose Athletic Hall of Fame as the defining moments in my career. But if there's one thing this process has revealed, it's that those pinnacle accomplishments on the court were simply byproducts of the moments that made the foundation of the woman who stands in front of you this evening. Moments that few have heard about, and even fewer have witnessed. Moments that, no matter how insignificant they seemed at the time, would be the backbone of my story. Moments which would shape my character, set the stage for one unforgettable journey during my time here at St. Ambrose. This evening, I would like to take the time to share with you some of those moments and thank those who helped to make those moments into memories. When I first stepped foot on campus back in the fall of 2003, 18-year-old me, Jennifer Goetz, had many emotions. For those of you who know me, sharing my emotions is not a very strong skill of mine. It was about 120 degrees that day, and Ambrose gifted me with the opportunity to live on 4th floor of Davis Hall with no air conditioning and no elevator. Is it still that way today? Yep, perfect, good. I remember that day clearly because I had countless thoughts running through my head, ranging from being scared about the unknown, to excited for this new journey, to fear of basically everything I was ready to face, nervousness because I didn't know if Ambrose was going to be the right fit for me. But there was one thing that was constant from day one on campus till my last: the game of basketball and everyone involved with it. To say it saved me doesn't do enough justice. When I was feeling down or lost, I went to go shoot at Lee Lohman. When I was feeling confused and needed an escape, I went to go shoot at Lee Lohman. When I needed to clear my head, I went to go shoot at Lee Lohman. It was my safe space, and it made me feel at home. It was those unseen hours that not only made me a better basketball player, but it helped me grow into my own skin. During my years here at St. Ambrose, it remained that, and even still to this day, even though it's not Lee Lohman, which I do still think I have a key, it's still a basketball court. The other part of my basketball safe place were my teammates. I will see many of them this Saturday, and I will relay this message to them, but wanted to share it with all of you here this evening. I could ramble on and on about what they all did, but the number one thing was they saw me as more than a basketball player. I never had to change who I was. They loved and supported me every step of the way, and more importantly, off the court. They helped make me a more balanced person in all phases of my life. There wasn't a day I didn't love being in the gym with them. Yes, all the wins were great, and we had a lot of them, but I remember the long bus rides, travel experiences around the country, after-game parties, which most of the time were harmless on campus, cafeteria meals, locker room dance parties, and late-night deep chats where our 18 to 22-year-old minds tried to solve the world problems. Our bond runs deep, which is why when we get together, it picks up just like we did here at St. Ambrose. Teammates can make or break an experience, and I am beyond blessed for each one of them during my time here at Ambrose. They were the center of many of my moments that went unseen. Without them, I am not standing up here today, so thank you, Queen Bees. Also during my time at Ambrose, we've had this coaching theme. I had some remarkable coaches who expanded me both on and off the court. Like Marty said, my recruiting journey had countless ups and downs. I thought I was going to go to 400 different places. I was told often I wasn't fast enough, I couldn't jump high enough, I didn't handle it well enough to be a guard, and I was too small to play on the inside. I heard the phrase, "you're just an in-betweener," far too often. But then came Coach Ted Eskelsen from St. Ambrose. Coach Ted in St. Ambrose entered my recruiting process much later than most schools, but the impact was immediate. The first time I talked with him, he said to me, "Miss Goetz, I look at what a player can do, not what they can't. And Miss Goetz, you can do a lot." And the rest was history. Not only did he say it, he lived it. His love and support for myself and all of his players were unmatched. Yes, he would ruffle feathers, and he wasn't by the books by any means, but boy, would he do anything for his players. After his time at Ambrose ended, Coach continued to support me, whether it was a phone call to talk about some basketball IQ, a call trying to convince me that LeBron is better than Jordan, which he never won, or attending my Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union Hall of Fame night in 2011 up in Des Moines, or watching me coach as I was starting my young coaching career at Davenport Assumption and then Pleasant Valley multiple times before he unexpectedly passed away in 2013. I look at what a player can do, not what they can. This phrase I think of often, both in my world as a head coach and more importantly as a special education teacher at Pleasant Valley. I also would not be standing up here today without his love and support. So thank you, Coach Ted. I would also like to thank Coach Amy Egan. She was my coach my junior and senior years here at Ambrose. She pushed me to get out of my comfort zone on both ends of the floor. I didn't like to play a lot of defense. I needed that push at that point in my career, which led myself and more importantly to our team to have much success. I grew as a player and learned many lessons that have helped me in the coaching world today. Thank you, Coach Egan. Usually when a player goes to college and competes in any sport, the number of games your family attend usually drops dramatically. This is far from the truth with my family. During my tenure at Ambrose, I played in a total of 134 basketball games. When reflecting over the past weeks, I counted about only 20 games where I didn't have a family member there. For my dad, who's a numbers guy, that comes to roughly 85% of my collegiate career. I had at least one loved one in the stands. Most of the time I had well over 6. I distinctly remember my teammates making comments about this often. At least we'll have some fans here, the Goetz family's here. Or, this one was more often, Goetz, your family is so often. Hey, by chance, did your grandmas bring us some treats for the bus ride home? I am truly blessed with my family, and I do not know where I would be without them. To my aunts, uncles, and cousins here today, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your genuine love and unconditional support is unmatched. I'm gonna get through it. To my 4 grandparents who are not with us anymore, there is no way I could give this speech without talking about them. I was blessed with the absolute best grandparents. They were my #1 supporters, regardless of the outcome or how I played. The lessons each one of them has taught me, I carry on with me each and every day. I know they're here tonight, looking down, wearing their St. Ambrose women's basketball sweatshirts proudly, and complete pride and joy with me. To my parents, thank you. As I was writing this speech, it's not too often that I am speechless, and I had no idea where to even begin. There is absolutely no way I am standing up here today without the 2 of you. You have been in my corner since day 1. You support me in everything that I do. I am who I am today because of the 2 of you. My strong-willed attitude, my competitive mindset, my follow-your-heart approach, my push-the-envelope ability, which does get me in trouble sometimes, my don't settle for anything or anyone, and my loving heart all come from the 2 of you. The older I get, the more I realize all the sacrifices for me you did. You did everything in your power to give me opportunities to be successful, which I always did my absolute best to make the most of those opportunities. Thank you. Now, I can't stand up here and just tell you those things. I have to have some funny stories about my parents, just to give everyone a little bit of a glimpse what it was like during my time here at Ambrose. A lot of people think that girls get the majority of their competitiveness from their father. That is not the case in my family. Yes, my dad is competitive, but he didn't hold a candle with my mother during my time here at Ambrose. So one quick story. My freshman year, we were playing our first conference game against Viterbo over at Lee Loman, and it was like January 4th, January 5th, so it was still winter break, so there was nobody here. And I was freshman, I was starting, and Viterbo was pretty good that year. They had a good post player, and I was just very nervous. And I'm gonna be honest, I think that of our first 6 possessions of the game, offensively, I'm pretty sure I had 4 turnovers. And not like aggressive turnovers that some coaches like to call them, like bad turnovers. And on my 4th turnover, I'm pretty sure I threw it almost directly to Viterbo, who was in maroon. And as I'm running down the court, there was one voice that I heard. First I saw a sub coming in for me, which rightfully so. And I heard one voice that says, "Jennifer, we're wearing the white jerseys." And I remember coming off the court, and my coach, Coach Ted at the time, was like, I was waiting to get chewed out, I deserved it. He's like, "Hey, your mom has good advice for you." Awesome, thank you. She always had the bar high, and there was no baby, and there was no excuses behind it, so it was a good time. Every time I put the St. Ambrose uniform on, it meant something to me. I had enormous respect for the players before me that put it on. I wanted to leave a lasting mark on this program and university. I wasn't perfect by any means, but I can honestly say I gave St. Ambrose and the women's basketball program every ounce of my heart and soul. This university and the women's basketball program will forever hold a special place inside of me, and the moments I had here are embroidered on my heart and in my mind forever. Thank you, and go Bees.
Some quick housekeeping for our Hall of Famers. We're going to get photos of you, so don't let yourself get out of here before we get all of you together and get all the photo ops done. So just to kind of conclude the night, first I want to talk to our kids. Certainly you see the themes here, don't you? It's not just a matter, these are really impressive individuals, but do you hear the common theme that runs throughout all of that, and that's the relationships with your teammates. That's, I'm practicing good cell phone etiquette. My cell phone's off. One call I know I'm not going to miss is the Simpson calling me for the Hall of Fame, but it's the same. And when you get older, you will remember the relationships with your teammates. You'll start to forget the games a little bit, but those people that you're with right now, those are the ones that you will always remember. So that's something to think about. What kind of teammate are you going to be? Are you going to get mentioned in a Hall of Fame speech for being that type of teammate? Because you'll cherish those relationships as well. I also want to flip the script and tell not only our Hall of Famers, but anybody who's coming back to campus or associated with St. Ambrose, we have really high quality here. Our student athletes are just beyond tremendous. We just today found out that for 6 consecutive years, think about this, 6 consecutive years, we have the most scholar athlete teams in the NAIA, in the nation. That's 6 years running. That's impressive, right? Because sometimes athletes get kind of a negative perception. They're not here for studying. But ours, wow. Every one of them is smarter than I am. I can tell you that right now. When the derecho hit, our athletes were all over this community, helping people clean things up, doing service projects, shoveling the roof of the dome with me and falling down because the roof of the dome's really slick with snow on it. You didn't have to pay anybody anything. They were just there. And I go to a lot of events, Hall of Famers, and I can honestly say this. We have 31 programs here. I have never been embarrassed by any of our kids in the way they compete. And we don't win every single time. We have some teams in national tournaments last year. We have our share of success. But our kids represent this university with dignity. They go to class. They compete hard. They do what they're supposed to do. And on Monday morning, I get almost no reports. There's 900 athletes. I get almost nothing on behavioral issues each and every week. So I think you can be proud of our kids as well as you follow St. Ambrose closely or from afar. You can bet that it's all happening here and it's going the right direction. So that's why we always like to kind of intermix these groups so everybody sees that. Our kids can admire the people that have come before them, but also you as alums or people who follow the university can know, hey, things are in good hands. And the AD, things are just in good hands because of the people that are here, and that starts with our kids. So thank you very much for your attendance and attention to our speakers. Congratulations again to our 4 inductees. Don't get out of here without getting any pictures, and we just thank you again for your attention tonight.